Hey folks, welcome back to 3Zen. This next story I have for you is also an airline story. Took place in Nashville when I was a co-pilot on the DC-9, probably in 1999, 2000, maybe 98, sometime in that period there. And we'd flown into Nashville, and then we're going to fly from Nashville back to Detroit, and that was going to be the last leg of our trip. Well, we got into Nashville, and one of the flight attendants had run out of crew duty, so she went into crew rest, and we had to sit there and wait for a plane to come down from Detroit, which really wasn't much time at all, maybe 10-15 minutes, and before it arrived. So they came in, and we took a flight attendant off that flight to augment us going back to Detroit. We're flying on a DC-9, I think -50. It carried about 120 people. And so we needed that third flight attendant. At any rate, when she showed up at the airplane, I was up in the cockpit doing, making my nest, if you will. And she had mentioned that on the way in, that airplane had pressurization problems and her ears were a bit blocked up. And of course I asked her, I said, "Are you comfortable to fly? You think you'll be okay to fly back?" And she said, "Oh yeah, I think I'll be fine." She says, "I'm just having a little bit of difficulty hearing." I said, "Well, that's understandable." So I said, I'm going to head downstairs and check out the flight planning, and I'll be right back. So I went downstairs to operations, and the captain I was flying with was an old guy. He was about a month away from retirement. And he actually was hard of hearing. He's about 60 at that time, and he did have some hearing issues. So I kind of walked up to him. The captain of that airplane that had just come in had debriefed the maintenance guys, telling them about the pressurization problems. So he was kind of in tune to that a little bit, and that was just a setup too good to let go. So I told the captain, I said, "Listen," I said, that flight attendant came in on that Detroit airplane. I said, when they had those pressurization problems, I said her ears got jammed up a bit and she's having a little bit of trouble hearing. She said she's okay to fly. She feels comfortable, but she just can't hear very well. And he said, "Oh, great." And I said, "Yeah," I said, as I was giving her a briefing and welcoming her aboard, I had to speak a little louder than normal. He said, "Well, thanks for the heads up." So then I went back upstairs and ran into her, and I said, "Listen," I said, "the captain feels good about you flying back with the hearing and all." And I said, "So everything should be fine." I said, "By the way," I said, "if he kind of shouts at you a little bit," I said, "just kind of take it in stride." I said, "He's about ready to retire, and he's been flying for 40 years, and his hearing is just shot. I've had problems this whole trip talking to him up in the cockpit. He just can't hear." So I said, if he kind of shouts loud at you, don't worry about it, but you're going to have to kind of talk louder than normal back to him for him to be able to hear. Otherwise it'd be huh. She said, "Okay, thanks for the heads up." And I said, "No, not a problem." So I go up in the cockpit and kind of sit down, and it's not long and the captain comes up, and they kind of meet there in the galley area, and he says, "Hi, Susie, I'm Captain Schmuckenfuss." And she says, "Wow, Captain Schmuckenfuss, it's nice to meet you." They're standing there shouting at each other. And it was hilarious. They're just shouting back and forth. "So your ears are okay?" Meanwhile, the other flight attendants are standing there watching these two bozos standing there shouting at each other. And I'm sitting up in the cockpit, just my guts just tearing up, laughing. And finally, the lead flight attendant stuck her head in and went real cute, real cute. So I'm sorry, but when I hear things like that, I just can't let them pass. That was just too natural of a setup. Thanks for stopping by.